I'm going to tell you the real Annabelle story tonight. Not the film version, not the porcelain doll with the scary face shown in the movies. I mean the original one people describe from the early 1970s. Movies based on the original doll look very different to the original doll we've seen in the movies. The original doll is a plain Raggedy Ann doll with red yarn hair and a stitched smile. And I want to start with one moment I can't shake. The doll is sitting on the bed, but not slumped over or fallen, not knocked off the pillow like you would expect. It was positioned neatly like it had been placed. It was facing the door and facing her. And I know this sounds silly when you think it's just a doll. But I think people forget what real fear is. It's not the object, it's the implication. Because if it looks out of place, then somebody must have placed it. And if no one has been in the room, then what exactly are you meant to do with that? Because you cannot argue with your own eyes and what you are seeing. Donna lived there. She knew the room. She knew how she left it. And that's where it starts. Not with a demon, not with a ghost, but with tiny shifts in an ordinary place that makes your stomach drop. Donna was a nursing student in the early 1970s, Hartford, Connecticut. She had a busy life, grueling shifts, placements, study, and she tried to get sleep when she could. She shared a small flat with her friend, Angie. This wasn't a creepy old house. It's just a normal place. Thin walls, closed rooms. The kind of flat where you can hear someone in the kitchen from your bedroom. The doll was a gift. Donna didn't buy it from an occult shop. She didn't drag it home from a haunted market. She didn't buy it in a yard sale. It was just a doll given to her by her mother on her birthday. Something you put on your bed, something that eventually becomes part of the background. And that's the key tone of the beginning. It started small. Here is the first thing that starts happening. The doll moves. It's not flying across the room and not spinning its head around, but small changes. Donna leaves it sitting upright and comes back to find it in a different position. Leaves it angled one way and comes back, and is angled another way. At first, it's honestly easy to laugh at, because life is tiring and people misremember stuff all the time. Donna also thinks Angie might have moved it. Angie assumes Donna may have moved it. They do that thing the flatmates do, half jokingly, half side-eye, like, okay, very funny. But it keeps happening. And the reason it starts to feel different, it's because movements start to look deliberate, not random, not it's fallen, more like it was placed. And when you notice that once, you start noticing it more and more as the time passes. And you start taking a mental snapshot. Where it is facing, how its arms are resting. And that's when something changes in your head. Because now you're not just living in your flat, you're monitoring it. This is where it starts to cross a line, because it's not just shifting on the bed anymore. Sometimes Donna leaves it in the living room sofa, and later she finds it in the bedroom. Not on the floor, not fallen behind something, but back on the bed. And the bedroom door is usually closed. Because if the doll is in the bedroom, then how is the door closed? Then either somebody is going into the room and closing it behind them, or something is happening in the flat that doesn't fit normal logic. And I'll be honest, this is the kind of detail that messes with you, because it doesn't just feel spooky, it feels invasive, like your space isn't yours anymore when you're not there. And I think that is why people remember this story. It hits that basic fear. What happens in my home when I'm not looking? Then the notes appear. And this is where the whole thing changes, because movement can be explained away if you really wanted to. But a message feels deliberate. Donna finds a note on a parchment paper, which is not ripped from a notebook paper, not torn corner of something, but a parchment paper, and written in childish writing. The note says, "Help us." They don't own a parchment paper, so they search the drawers, cupboards, under the cushions, anywhere you might store stationery without thinking about it, but nothing. Then another note appears. Same kind of paper, same childish writing, but now it says, "Help Lou." And Lou is their friend, someone who visits, somebody who's around them. And I want you to imagine this. Now it's paying attention. It's like something in that flat knows who you are, knows who comes in, knows your names. And even if you try to stay logical, your mind reacts first. This is wrong. Something here doesn't make sense, or someone is playing a prank. And now we get to Lou. Lou didn't like the doll. Some people feel that instantly, They can walk into a room and something feels off to them, but they can't explain why. So Lou tells them to get rid of it. He says the flat feels heavy. And heavy is such a specific word people use when they feel like a space is occupied. So one night, Lou falls asleep on the sofa. Later, he describes waking up and being unable to move, and it's terrifying. When you know what it is, your mind is awake, but you're unable to move, and in that moment, your brain searches for a reason, and Lou says he becomes aware of a presence, close, not across the room, but close. And then he notices the doll. It was too close. His fear spikes. Later, he describes he watched the doll move up towards his chest and began to strangle him. And eventually, he passed out. When he came back round, he was able to move again. He was shaking and terrified, convinced this was not just a dream. Then, in another incident, Lou heard noises coming from Donna's room. When he went to look, the room was empty. But he finds the doll on the floor. As he approached the doll, he felt a burning sensation. Later, he shows Donna and Angie marks on his body, scratch-like marks, and the detail that makes it feel worse is that they faded quickly and healed completely within 2 days. So it becomes this awful kind of private horror. Something that is happening changes you, scares you, then leaves you without any kind of proof that makes you feel sane. After Lou's experience and the notes, they try to understand what's going on in their home. So they bring in a medium. Not because they want to summon anything, but because they're trying to understand what is happening in their apartment. The medium claims it's a spirit, a young girl, and the name that comes up, Annabelle Higgins. A child who wants comfort, who wants attention, who wants to stay. And this is a part that freaks me out. Donna reportedly gives permission, not in a ritual, but more like a tired emotional decision. A soft, okay, you can stay. And whether somebody believes in spirits or not, permission changes the feeling of the room. And almost immediately after this, the activity becomes more aggressive. Now after that, the story escalates. There's a reported moment where Donna notices that the doll has moved again, and she sees red stains on it, blood-like drops, described on the hands and the chest. That pushes them over the edge, because once you see something like that, real or not, your brain stops bargaining. After that, they reach out for more serious help. They called a priest who came and blessed the apartment, but the activity continues. And then the name that pulls this story into the wider world, Ed and Lorraine Warren. Their view, as it is told, is that this is no child spirit. They claim it's something else, using the story as a mask. So we have 2 exhausted young women in a flat, trying to live their lives, and now they're in conversations about spirits and permissions and danger. And when this happens, your place stops feeling like a home, and it becomes a place you endure. Ed and Lorraine Warren removed the doll and take it with them. Reportedly on the way there, the power steering repeatedly failed until Ed stopped, got out of the car, and doused the doll in holy water. The doll was placed in a custom wood and glass case at the Warrens Occult Museum in Connecticut, with a warning sign which reads, "Positively do not open." The museum was open to the public, and the Warrens often told stories of visitors who have taunted the doll and experienced unfortunate events, like a young couple where the boyfriend tapped on the glass and mocked the doll. The story goes that on their way home in the evening, while riding the motorbike, they got into an accident. And even though the girl was fine, the guy, however, did not make it. Another story is of a priest who mocked the doll and said, "You're just a Raggedy Ann doll, Annabelle. You can't hurt anyone." And Ed Warren warned him not to say such things, but the priest dismissed his concern. Shortly after leaving the home, Father was involved in a near-fatal car accident. His vehicle brakes and power steering reportedly failed at a busy intersection, causing his car to be completely totaled. Although the car was demolished and he was hurt badly, he survived the crash, and later he called the Warrens and claimed just before the accident he had seen Annabelle's face in his rear view mirror. Years later, after the doll had been taken out of the flat and placed behind a glass case, the public version of the story grows. Museum stories are attached to it, warnings, legends, and then in recent years, rumors came in waves that the doll had escaped. It's missing. It had been moved around. And every time people react the same way, like the object isn't an object, like the story has weight. But here's what I think is the real haunting part. Even if you remove the supernatural claim, you're still left with something that messes with you. Because fear isn't one big moment. It's accumulation, repetition, and it's the slow shift from this is nothing to why is it still happening. And once you cross that line, your home doesn't feel the same. And let me bring you back to the start. If you walked into your bedroom tonight and something was positioned neatly on your bed, facing the door, facing you, would you convince yourself it's nothing? Or would you leave the lights on and never feel fully alone in that room again? Don't forget to tell me in the comments below which part of this story would have broken you first. The movement, the closed door, or the notes. Join us again for the next story.